Hello and welcome to Time Between Times Storytelling with me, Owen Staton. The sun is shining like a golden orb in the sky and spring is with us. The dark days of winter have long since passed and we can look forward to a glorious summer. One in which I hope you will join me regularly here at the Time Between Times with Richard the Ghost. Time Between Times, the place where tales are told. Thank you, my friends, for joining me once more here to listen to a tale traditionally told. Please share this channel with anyone who may be interested. Please like and subscribe. And please, if you wish to buy me a coffee, coffee.com/Owen Staton, it would be much appreciated. My friends, sit back, relax, take a deep breath, clear your mind of all that is bad, clear your mind of all your worries. Let us go to the time between times. The time it is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone and the sky is grey. The time when the veil between our world and the fairy world is wafer thin. So thin that for just a few moments you can step into their realm, and for a few moments they can step into ours. Now is the time people see lights in the sky. Now is the time that people see fairies. Now is the time that people see ghosts. Now is the time of tales traditionally told. So my friends, sit back, relax, and wait for the teller of tales to tell you a tale from long ago. Basingwork Abbey, Maesglas In Clwyd. What a beautiful place that was. Stained glass windows depicting ancient tales and stories from the Bible. People coming and going. People offering prayer, but also market folk. People from all over the area gathering together to meet. But I'll tell you a tale of a strange happening that happened there in the 12th century on a day just like today. There was a monk there called Brother Julius. He had lived there for 5 years and was seen as a shining light in the brotherhood. He would soon go on to greater things, for he was pious, for he was caring, and he was good to all the people of Maes Clwyd. One day he had gathered outside the great abbey. He turned around and looked. The sun was shining off the windows. He could hear the song of chanting not far away. He sat back and happy. He wandered out amongst the graves, sat down and started to think about what he would next say at the next service he would have to take. The next time he would speak to the people of nearby. The next time he would offer wisdom and advice. He sat down, started to meditate. Many words going through his mind. And something strange happened. The abbey was surrounded by forest, but far away, Brother Julius could hear the song of a nightingale. So sweet, it felt like it was wafting on the air like honey. He opened his eyes. It seemed louder, and again he listened. It was the sweetest sound he had heard for ages. Suddenly, a longing came upon him. A longing, a yearning to find the bird that was making so sweet a sound. So he stood up, straightened his robe, walked among the twisting, winding paths in the graveyard out to the forest. He looked back at the abbey one more time. What a beautiful place it was. Stepped under the shadow of the trees. Suddenly the whole place was darker. Far away he could hear the sounds of animals rushing into the bushes at his approach. There was a winding path just making its way from the abbey. and the nightingale's song echoed through the trees. He took 1 step, 5 steps, 50 steps, 100 steps. Every step brought him closer to the source of the sweet song, until he came to a clearing in the middle of the forest, one which he did not know was even there. There on a branch, high above, was the nightingale, singing the song. Brother Julius sat down and crossed his legs. Let the song wash over him like a wave. Maybe an hour passed. The sky seemed to have grown darker. There was a chill on the wind, but at this time of year, that's what happens. Brother Julius stood up, turned around, and followed the path back to the abbey. He stepped outside and noticed that everything had changed. As he emerged from the forest following the path in which he left, he came back to the abbey. But what he saw was what he did not expect. The abbey itself was in ruins. Great tower had fallen to the ground. All the windows were smashed. The graves were overgrown, filled with grass, abandoned, like an old hooked claw coming out of the ground. What was once beautiful, now a ruin. Brother Julius could not believe what he was saying, could not believe what he was hearing. There was no sign of any folk. He walked round to the great wooden door of the chapel. It was hanging off its hinges, broken and rotten. He stepped inside. The place had not been used for hundreds of years. Panic gripped him, and he moved outside and looked around and sat down and offered himself in prayer. But everything had changed. Then the night started to fall. The time between times came, the time when it was neither night nor day, but the sun had gone. The sky was grey. An onlooker was making his way past the ruins of the abbey. Remembers one thing, that he saw the cowled monk sitting next to one of the graves and sobbing, before he suddenly vanished, disappeared, along with the ruins. What is also strange is that the onlooker remembered seeing this in 1775, more than 500 years since Brother Julius followed the song of the nightingale. But our strange story does not end there. It gets even stranger. Fast forward to 1941. A farmer living by the ruins of the abbey remembers one day walking back to his house, taking his way through the long, overgrown and ruined graveyard. What was left of the abbey was now just stones and wrecked and ruin and tale. But there in the graveyard, he saw a monk sitting in prayer. This is a strange sight, but this was wartime. The world was filled with strange sights. The farmer walked over to the monk and asked him, "Wyt ti eisiau cymoedd? Do you need help?" The monk looked up at him, seemed to look straight through him, but replied, "Ie, os gwelwch yn dda. Yes, please." The farmer took the monk by the hand and took him back to his house, about a mile from the ruins of the abbey. In they stepped. The monk seemed confused, looking around, but sat by the fireplace, where the farmer's wife cut a loaf of bread and cheese and gave it to the monk. The monk took one look at her, bit into the bread and cheese. Suddenly an ill wind seemed to sweep through the house, and the monk changed to dust that blew on the breeze. cowl collapsed and vanished, rotting in front of her, leaving just dust on the floor. The plate fell to the floor, cracked and broke. The farmer and his wife stepped back. They gathered the dust from the floor, placed it in an urn, took it back to the ruins of the abbey, where they buried it in the graveyard. A strange tale indeed, but one that became famous throughout Clwyd. The vanishing man, who seemed to come through time itself, only to taste the food of the present and vanish. If he has been seen since, I do not know. Many flock to the ruins of the abbey in the hope of seeing the man from the past, who heard the song of the nightingale, and everything changed. Thank you for listening, my friends. Diolch yn fawr am gwrando. Thank you ever so much for joining me, Owen Staton, here at the Time Between Times. Don't forget, I have a podcast as well. Wherever you get your podcasts, please download the Time Between Times podcast and tell your friends about it. Thank you ever so much for listening. Have a great week. Remember, you are safe here at the Time Between Times. The time it is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone. The sky is grey. Take care, man.